everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama. Welcome to our World of Paws series.
This time we're comparing and contrasting between two similar anime films, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind by Hayao Miyazaki and Fullmetal Alchemist of Sacred Star of Milos.
Nausicaa.
Yeah,
and they're not similar.
It's a similar things.
At first these two movies seem different, but after viewing both it turns out that Star of Milos movie is actually another version of Nausicaa, but with way less effort or entertainment feature.
Yeah, of course, before we get started, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on new Paws videos.
Yes. So we have to say the first movie we saw, of course, was Star of Milos.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, watching the movie, we knew that it was bad without having seen Nausicaa.
Right. Now, if you do like this movie, once again, no problem with that. We just did not care for it ourselves.
Right. The best part of the movie was Al and Ed, and then they had lines that were so bad that it was like, these aren't the same characters. Who is this talking? What is he talking about? What is he saying?
Right. And we only found this out because
we bought it.
Right. We bought the film, and then we ended up seeing a person on YouTube review the film, and then he had pointed out several times that one of the main characters, Julia, and many of the plot elements of Milos were identical to Nausicaa. And when we watched Nausicaa, we could see all the influence and stuff put into the other movie.
Yes. And it's like, you should have never made this movie. Just stuck with Nausicaa. And what we also learned is that the person who made Star of Milos also worked with Miyazaki.
Yes, one of the people behind it, yes, did work on it. So it looks like he, at one point, he took inspiration from it, but went from inspiration to plagiarism. Because you could even tell by the art. The art and the characters that aren't already in FMA universe look like it.
Right.
Because people have said, well, the characters they came up with are the original ones, they look fine. Everyone else is the one that looks off.
And it looks like they really made an effort in Star of Milos to try to make something that would be entertaining, but it just wasn't. It was all over the place. Some of the action was non-linear. Some of the dialogue didn't make sense. And especially with Julia and her brother, you thought it was going to be something that was, earth-shattering reveal, and then when it was revealed, it was like, but this doesn't make sense.
Right.
And his thinking it wasn't even flawed. You like flawed characters, but he was beyond flawed. He was just stupid. And she didn't make sense.
Right.
They wanted her to be a heroine, like in Nausicaa, but she wasn't. And what was her name?
Julia. Yeah. Julia's name in the movie.
They want her to be a heroine, but she wasn't. And it's because, to me, her character wasn't developed enough.
Right.
The character didn't have enough personality. You didn't get a sense of who she was. More attention was paid to the war that was taking place.
Right.
And the events that were taking place in character development.
So it looked like they only had half done the job. They have all the things where you're supposed to sympathize with her. Great. And they have the setting. Great. But then it looks like they stop after coming up with it, and then they go nowhere from there.
Right.
She's just, you have all this stuff to feel sorry for her about, and that's it. You don't even get a sense of her passion to helping these people like you did in Nausicaa. Because it's clear, everything is clear from the time you watch the movie, from the opens to the goals to the war, everything. Here you get her backstory from the time what happened with her parents when she was little, what happened with her brother, why this place is in the state it is now, why she wants to stop the war. All of this is given, but then the personality and nothing is built up with it, so it feels kind of empty because you haven't really grown to have any emotion towards the character because the character has not really done anything worth you caring. And then you have a supposedly plot twist in here with who her brother really is. But the thing was, someone did state, it's impossible to figure out the clues of how the twist comes about because they're non-existent. They tell you what it is and it's like, when? Like they have this thing where you could graft other people's faces onto your face, which is never done before and can never be done.
It's like watching Batwoman.
Right. It's like, wait, they never said you could do that, but suddenly in this movie you can.
Right.
And then the weird part is that, like I said, you kind of already knew the twist that this might not be her brother. That was it. You kind of figured that out already. I mean, you haven't seen him yet. All of a sudden, he's back and all this crap happens. He kills people. Yeah, that's most likely not him.
And then he does turn up, right?
Yeah, and
then
he's
she goes,
worse.
oh, the earrings. Oh, I recognize the earrings. I gave you those earrings, and you were like, this is like a real stretch. I'm sure that was not the only pair of earrings probably ever made. Although he says he had them custom made, it just didn't make sense.
Right. Well, Nausicaa, there wasn't any like traitor reveal or big bad or anything like that. You pretty much got the cut and dry of what's going on, and they tell you what's going on with this world and why it's at war and why they want to end all the stuff that was happening because it was just making their situation worse and they need to fix it.
Right. So, now we did mention, of course, Ed and Al Elric are in the movie, and we were really excited because we thought we were going to get to see some of our, favorite characters and them being themselves and adding some depth to the movie.
When they actually arrived.
And then we found out that this movie isn't canon.
Nope.
It's like, okay, strike one. Then you get to hear Ed and Al have their conversation on the train, yet another train. And the lines they were saying didn't make sense. And then he had this diatribe later when he was yelling at Julie, and it's like, what are you saying? It makes no sense. Edward would never say this. What are you talking about? So in Three Strikes, are looking forward to seeing two of our favorite characters ever in anime be totally destroyed.
Yeah, because it was a point. Yes, as you said, they're having the battle in the movie. So the climax of the film takes about 30 minutes. That shouldn't be okay. The final battle should not be 30 minutes long. If it is, then it's not a final battle. You're prolonging the battle. But when they had in there, it said you want to make a new world, but you can't use truth as a tool to destroy what's real and in front of you. What?
Exactly.
Truth? You can't destroy truth with truth. What are you talking about? That makes no sense. That sentence makes no sense. This movie makes no sense.
And that's all we kept saying, like, what are you talking about? That became the running remark during the entire movie, which is not a good thing when you think about it. It's not a good thing.
Oh, Lord.
And the artwork was based on 2003, the Full Metal Alchemist original, which
Right.
probably was great for people who loved the 2003 version.
Right.
And I'm sure they were disappointed when it not only was it not canon, it had nothing to do with the 2003 series.
Nor Brotherhood.
Right. And I know they had to be disappointed. I know they had to be they felt betrayed and tricked.
Right.
Now, what I didn't understand is why this gentleman didn't just create an entirely new movie.
Right.
Instead of trying to capitalize or borrow from Nausicaa.
And
if he had made something different, totally different, and then had them appear in it, then it could have been okay because then you could have looked at it as an OVA movie.
Right.
And that would have been fine.
Right, like, oh, it's a grand special or something, then yeah. And for here, we also must mention that there also was a vast difference in the time it took to make the movie. Nausicaa took years to make, probably 12 years in terms of doing the manga as well and halting that to do the film. And then Sacred Star of Milos took 1 year to do, like shortly after Brotherhood ended.
Right.
And this is supposedly in the same universe as Brotherhood,
That's
but it's not canon. So I'm not sure how or why they
and it's
did
not
that.
the same artwork.
Exactly.
And the characters don't even look the same. So,
Right.
yeah, it's not possible.
And when we watched the bonus features, we learned that yes, this was actually a script to another film that never got made. And it got mixed in with Fullmetal Alchemist since that was already written. They just melded that in there.
And it also had a fan base.
Exactly. So we understood more why it felt like a whole nother movie. It was another movie. And of course the gentleman who made it didn't get a greenlit when he pitched it, so he used it to do this FMA movie, added and out in there, tried to have FMA in that universe. It was almost like an unofficial crossover with something else, and then made the movie. That's how this got done so fast, because a lot of the writing for this segment of the movie had already been completed.
Right. So now that we've talked a little bit about Star of Milos, let's talk about what was great about Nausicaa, and then we can point out the things they tried to translate that didn't work at all. Nausicaa was fabulous and amazing. It was a great movie, and I'm sorry, there's no comparison to the piece of crap Star of Milos.
Oh!
There's no comparison. I'm really sorry to say that. And for you, those of you who find the value in Star of Milos,
which is great,
we're really happy for you. We just did. Nausicaa was just such a better movie all the way around. Better character development, more interesting heroine, and yes, she was a heroine in this movie.
Yeah.
Even the minor characters were interesting. The war was explained. The events were explained. You had men and women who were strong characters and who were choosing opposite sides. And even with what the events that were going on, there were fun moments in this movie, and there were human moments in this movie where, and what's the girl's name in Nausicaa?
Nausicaa, right?
Nausicaa instead of Julia, yes. You would see these wonderful, loving moments from her, and how she interacted with the environment around her, and how she loved the people, and how she was a much-loved princess of the people. It's just a fantastic movie, and the 12 years they put into it definitely shows.
Right. And we haven't read the manga, but definitely want to read it now watching the film, because it was actually made before they even made the movie, and he had finished it, so I think after the film was completed, they helped him finish the story in terms of the book. And like you said, and it's a really, really, really movie. It's considered, sometimes it is considered one of the greatest movies ever made, like animated or otherwise. And it shows because in the time span of 2 hours, it's like one of the talents of Miyazaki, in the time span of 2 hours, you get to know this whole nother world, all these characters, and get engrossed in it immediately.
Absolutely.
While Milos kind of really was attempting to have you get into this part of FMA you've never seen before and had great ideas, you just were not invested in some of the ideas they had. They were good ideas, definitely good ideas, but there just wasn't as much passion put into it as Nausicaa, with everything and the morals it was trying to teach and the lessons it wanted to teach kids who were watching it.
Right. And I also would have to add that, as we mentioned earlier, you really cared about the characters in Nausicaa. You really cared what was happening, what was going on. They were fleshed out. They were well-rounded. And when the 2 hours was up, as always, I always have to say when we're watching a Miyazaki movie, the first thing I'm going is it's over already. And you say, but it's been 2 hours.
Right.
It doesn't seem like 2 hours because it was so entertaining and so much fun. It seems like it just started. And wow, it's ending and I don't want it to end. This man just has this brilliant talent of drawing you in and making you feel like you're a part of the movie and a part of the experience, and you don't want it to end.
Right.
And that is definitely what was missing from Star of Milos.
Yeah, unfortunately it was. Like we said, we do appreciate that there was some effort put into it, even though it was only a year. There were some efforts into attempting to make these new characters just as loved as Ed and Al in this FMA universe. And there was effort into even doing the references and stuff to Nausicaa. But unfortunately, the references come off as plagiarism because they don't feel like, when you watch it, like, hey, that's kind of like Nausicaa. It's just like, you ripped off Nausicaa. It didn't feel.
Julia, Nausicaa, her clothing,
the red hair. The only difference that is, it was in a functional town instead of this area where it's just all plant life and stuff because of an accident. Here is just, there wasn't anything to make the world interesting. They had the tabletop city, which I guess was their way of doing the town where Nausicaa is. And it was a great idea, and people say, I like the idea, but they're always in the worst part of the city.
Right.
And you understand the conflict is taking place there. You understand that this is where the people are in danger, and they're the ones that need the help. But the top of it is empty. No one's there, and it's the most interesting part of the city, and yet you take place in the least interesting part of the city.
Absolutely.
While Nausicaa made every part of its world vibrant and beautiful to look at. And you understand that it's all weird, like alien-like plants and animals and stuff, but you still were engrossed in this world that was built here. You just didn't get that same feeling that they were attempting to do in Milos, because they literally put nothing there, no people, just soldiers. You weren't getting a feel of what this town is.
And on top of that, where did Milos come from? It was a...
Milos. Okay, Milos is the name of their... I'll just say Philosopher's Stone because they say it isn't, and it is, and it also isn't.
But from Nausicaa, what was the character's name?
It was a guy's name. It was a pilot.
Right.
His name was Mitos, I think.
And he came Milos in here, right?
Yeah, someone was a Mitos. I think he was one of the pilots there. That was a friend of Nausicaa. And when we heard, I'm like, wait a minute, did it say Milos or Mitos? And we heard Mitos, I'm like, you changed a letter.
Right, exactly.
You changed a letter. What the heck? Oh gosh, yeah, but yeah, they like I said, we could see there was effort in Milos. It's just unfortunately they should have spent more time on it, or had the original author of FMA to work on it, because she did not even know that they were even doing this movie until it was announced that it was coming to theaters. Mm-hmm. So I think it would have helped that she worked on it, because even Shambhala, while we didn't care for the ending, it was still entertaining to watch through until the end.
Yeah, I thought it was great, because you said the reason that we didn't care for the ending, not because it was bad, but because we were sad that they didn't get to go back to their universe,
right,
and they were in ours,
right,
and that they were separated from everyone they knew and loved, and you know, although there was a funny part at the end with all these characters look just like the bad guys in the other universe,
right,
we still wanted them to get back to where they wanted to be and where they belong.
Right.
And the only good part about the ending was Al saying, you know, wherever you are, as long as you're there, you know,
right,
I'm happy.
Right.
But yeah, it was a bittersweet ending. But it was a much, much, much better movie, much more engrossing, much more entertaining. Definitely, you knew it was canon, and it made sense.
Right.
I mean, it was interesting.
Even with the back crazy things they threw in.
Right. It was interesting seeing the counterparts from one universe and the other. But unfortunately for Star of Milos, it just didn't work. It just didn't flush out. It just didn't do what its purpose was. It didn't entertain. It didn't enlighten. It didn't inform. It just let us down terribly.
Right. And like I said, for us, now if you do happen to like Sacred Star of Milos, you're welcome to state that in the comments and why you like it.
Exactly. Let us know what we're missing.
Right, because we have seen movies where they're considered bad, and we watch them, they're actually pretty good. So we can understand if you feel differently about it. But for us, we prefer Nausicaa, and that's a recent movie we saw compared to Milos, and it was just we just prefer that over Milos.
Now stay tuned. We're also going to have an actual podcast dedicated, to Nausicaa.
Right.
And you'll definitely want to hear it. We'll go into more depth about the movie, what made it great, and some little tidbits, of course, that we'll share with you. But we didn't want to do that here because the main purpose of this was to compare and show how one movie was directly taken from another and not done very well.
Right. So, thank you so much for watching.
If you have seen Sacred Star of Milos, comment, let us know what you think. And again, if you like this movie, let us know what we're missing about it, or how you think it fits with the 2003 Full Metal Alchemist for you.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on Paws On Animation podcast.
And our World of Paws
as well. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Oscar Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? My man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Hit her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you later on in the form of a rocket.